Welcome, everybody. It's just very exciting for us to see your interest and be able to talk about the International Affairs program, which is one of the biggest majors in the College of Arts and Sciences, and very global, and one of the truly interdisciplinary programs too, which we're very proud of, this program and our students. And I thought we would do a brief PowerPoint presentation so you can get some idea of what the program is like. And we will have a question and answer session at the end. We'll have actually a student who's taking a senior seminar with me now to come and talk to you in a few minutes as well, so you can get the student perspective, as Yasmin said too. But at any time, put your questions in the chat or hold them until we're done here. We're done with the PowerPoint, and we'll be happy to answer anything you got and any issues that you might have. But again, a big welcome to future buffs, I hope, and hopefully international affairs majors. So let's get started. This is as I mentioned, a big program of several hundred students, but a demanding one, and one of the more demanding ones at the university, certainly in the college. It sort of epitomizes the liberal arts education, and we are very focused on liberal arts because we think that's what college is all about. I know there's competition from a lot of other majors and schools and engineering and business, which are all wonderful. This one really is giving you the ability to communicate and analyze and think and really challenge you. And it is a challenging major. We'll get to some of the specifics of that in a second. Our students who are international affairs majors are obviously very interested in global affairs and global policy, not just U.S. foreign policy, but around the world. And so they are very passionate about that. And a lot of them eventually go on to careers, most of them domestically, but they'll always retain that love of international affairs. We are an interdisciplinary program, as it says here, which means that there are a lot of programs that are multidisciplinary, in which you have a lot of majors or faculty or student interests that go into different departments and programs in not random ways, but there's not as much coherence as when you're interdisciplinary. And then there are themes that we sort of push from a variety of perspectives. As you can see here, anthropology, economics, political science. We have courses also. We affiliated with the business school and more. And so you'll see in a minute when we talk about our functional areas that those themes are coherent, and that's where the interdisciplinary comes through. You look at themes in a lot of different ways. I'm a big believer that college is about college, but we also know college is about training and knowledge and preparing you for an afterlife after college. Even though you're just coming in at the beginning. But you can see here that most employers, almost all employers, are really looking for more than just the skill set of, which are great to have, data processing or languages or whatever, knowledge, but also sort of an ethical and a judgment, the integrity, the skills to be able to reach across boundaries and reach across other cultures and relate. And we think the international affairs major gives you that too. We'll talk about that. We have a whole category of that too. Liberal arts, again, we are very key on that. There's some interesting statistics that show that, yes, a liberal arts major might have a harder time getting her or his foot in the door of a job. But by the time they're in their mid-40s or so, I know that's a long way off, but some 20 years after graduation, they usually pass the more professional schools like engineering, business, and salaries, and in management, because they have all of these skills that they've learned to adapt, to communicate, to analyze. So you can see here where our international affairs majors have gone on, and everything. You can do anything with liberal arts, you can do anything with international affairs. And of course, we have some that have gone on to be diplomats and ambassadors too. but it really is a major that prepares you for graduate school and for the corporate world if you don't go to graduate school or other aspects of working life, right? What you do at International Affairs is when you come in, you take our introductory gateway course, International Affairs 1000, which is taught every fall. It'll usually be most likely a large lecture class, and that will give you an introduction to everything global across the world, thematically, whether it's about gender or race or about economics, political science. It'll tell you kind of how global issues are embedded in everything we study. And you can see the list here on all the frameworks and categories there too, social and military. And what we're trying to do is get you to make those connections across the globe in an interdisciplinary way, see things. International Affairs 1000 will give you an idea of how a certain issue, say the war in Ukraine, for example, is viewed from a variety of angles too. And that's just one example too. We'll talk about crises. We'll talk about building an international community and what that means beyond even the United Nations, about media, and about the resources that go into not only the United States being a powerhouse, but other nations and how they share power in the world. So this is a great course to take, and it not only, of course, satisfies the International Affairs major, but the general education diversity credit as well. This is sort of a nice overview of our curriculum, and you can always look online. We'll have the websites, and you can look online for the International Affairs major if you already haven't. Foreign language is big. We, as I said, this is a demanding major. We require a third year of a foreign language, not just two, but a third year. And we're very proud of that. And it's a lot to ask, but it really pays off later life or in what you're doing on campus or in an honors thesis to be able to draw on those languages too. And most of our students, well, you know, some 60% or so study abroad, maybe a bit more than that too. So they've got those languages built in. We've got lower division credits, including the one I just talked about, the International Affairs 1000, and then a slew of upper division courses as well. These functional areas there you see in turquoise are sort of those thematic areas and concentrations. It can be on development and culture. There's one on economics and business, national security and diplomacy, and also one on norms, sort of the legal side and ethics too. And you take courses in each of those categories too. You also decide on what area of the world you want to focus on. It's our geographic concentration. The majority of our majors, the plurality of our majors are either focused on Europe or Latin America, less so on Asia and Middle East, Africa. But we have our numbers of those too. And so, and many of those students have chosen those geographic concentration because they're going to study abroad in one of the countries in that area. We also have a requirement of an off-campus experience. This can be met by study abroad. So you've got that. And if you don't study abroad, you do an internship with our assistant director, Catherine Rousseau, or some other sort of off-campus experience to get you out of the university and into the community and learning about how the globe and international affairs, even if it's in Colorado, apply at a local level. So it's very handy there too. And in red, finally there too, you'll either take a senior seminar. I'm teaching one now. Those are capped at an enrollment, usually about 19. I've got 15 this year, and sometimes they're lower than that. So it's a relatively small class where you write a research paper at the end too, but everybody knows everybody else. That's your senior year. Or you do an honors thesis. And we have a very a really good developed honors program, which usually we have 10 to 15 or so students who have picked an honors topic and work one-on-one with an advisor, a faculty member, in their late junior and then senior year, and produce a research paper, an honors thesis, and get Latin honors for that too. And I should say that this off-campus experience also, I forgot that I saw all those things. Study abroad internships, there's a CU in DC program. A lot of things satisfy that off-campus experience. We are also in process of adding a few programs. We're always adding some certificates. We're going to add a minor too, but we're in the process. Probably it won't be in place this coming year, but ready to go, hopefully by next spring. For those students who have finished most of their international affairs major, want to hang around Boulder another year, have qualified for this too, because it'll be demanding. There'll be an admissions process, but it's a BA and MA. In 5 years, sort of an accelerated Bachelor of Arts degree with an MA at the end too. This will be it's actually a 1 or 2 year probably program too, so it might take a little bit more than 5 years. It's being conceived right now. It's probably going to be hooked into a master's degree in social science methods, and you take graduate courses with a cohort in a variety of different departments, culminating in some sort of research seminar at the end of that too. So stay tuned for that if this is something that would interest you too. Again, we're going to have an admission process, going to be pretty rigorous. It'll be just starting out, but it is in the works now and being formulated right now. We are the poster children for study abroad, which should be no surprise. As I mentioned, probably about 2/3 of our students study abroad. That can be as much as a year abroad, probably more popular now as a semester, or one of these global seminars. I actually run one for 2 weeks to Bordeaux, France, and we're finally going again after a 2-year layoff because of the pandemic in mid-June. So it's a summer program, and they're faculty led. There are other ones you can go on. We have a lot of students who've gone on a lot of these study abroad programs. And so what we do is once we know where you're going and you have your list of courses, we approve all of those and you're set to go. And a lot of those qualify for international affairs credit. So there are a variety of them. They can be summer, they can be winter break. We also have what's called an advisory board. We have a committee of outside donors. Most of them are alums of the International Affairs program who have created study abroad scholarships. We have a big one that's pretty prestigious where we give out 20 a year called the Global Grants. We have other funding too. And so we like to say in international affairs, we like to say that we want to take the dollar or euro or yen or yuan or whatever, and I guess you can't say ruble right now, but we like to take those signs out of your calculations to study abroad and make it possible for you to go on these programs. These are, again, you get course credit, you see the world, and they're really a hallmark of the International Affairs program. I mentioned that BA/MA, easier to do right now and more feasible because they exist, is a business minor that you can do through the lead school, as well as be an international affairs major. You can double major in foreign languages. We get a lot of students doing that. We get a lot of double majors or majors and minors. Invest, which is sort of a social justice and community organization and program. We have a lot of students do that. We have students getting ready for the Peace Corps and get certificates. Not only majors and minors, but certificates, which are even less credit, usually, 18 or 19 credits. Some of them double count for your major. You can do a certificate in a variety of things. We have a great program, the Peace, Conflict, and Security, or PACS program, that you can do a certificate in, take not only count some of your courses, but take some PACS courses themselves. Global Health Certificate, we have one with the Communication School, journalism, a certificate. And we work on approving as many students as we can for those. A global environment certificate as well with the environmental studies program. These are ways for you to focus even more without doing a whole other major or a whole other minor. You can kind of focus on these certificates and they go on your transcript. Here's something we're really proud of. We are leaders on campus. I always like to say this, but it is true. And I know it's self-interested, but I can't tell you how many times I have talked to faculty across campus, whatever the field or school, who, when they know I'm the director of international affairs, they'll say, oh, my two best students are international affairs students, or they're the best volunteers, or they're really involved in a lot of things across campus. One of the major projects on campus will be coming up next week. It's every early April, the Conference on World Affairs that's been going since 1948. It brings literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of people to campus to hear experts, famous people across fields. And our international affairs majors are some of the biggest volunteers for ushering around some of the speakers or helping with the logistics of that too. And so you learn a lot from that too. We have clubs. We're very active in creating clubs. CU Boulder itself is wonderful for that, about creating clubs, starting your own clubs, the minimal number of people. And international affairs will help also fund certain clubs too. We have an open house that we usually do around late September and October, where you'll get to meet a lot of the people who run clubs and study abroad or education abroad, affiliated faculty and others all come from that. So you don't have to decide on a club this summer that you want to go into. You can wait till that and see what's available at that open house. And we have a fairly new program, a mentorship program for our juniors and seniors mostly, who are matched with an international affairs alumnus. And they're mentored in how they made it through CU, how they got their career. We'll match you up should you wish to apply for that. It's become more and more popular. It's again, fairly new, but it'll help you as you're getting ready to finish at CU with career advice and what's out there. Not to mention also, I mean, in my seminars too, and our senior seminars, all of them will bring career services to class. So we'll have a career services person who will show you how to write a resume, or what questions to ask in an interview, or what's out there and who the alums are too. So we're here to help you. Even though it's a very big major, we're here to help you every step of the way, from the very beginning in that gateway course to getting a position and getting a job. And I think admissions and others can tell you that a large majority of our students have jobs or in graduate school within 6 months of graduation, and this is part of that process.
Great, thank you so much, Tom. So with that, I want to go ahead and introduce our two students, Linnea and Lily. If you want to introduce yourselves, just your obviously international affairs is your major, any other majors or minor certificates that you're pursuing, your year and your experience so far within the international affairs program.
Yeah, hello, I'm Linnea. I'm a fourth year student, so I'm a senior this year, and international affairs major and an education minor. My geographic concentration is Europe and Eurasia. And yeah, my experience has been really amazing. I'm actually in the international affairs mentorship program that was just talked about. So I've been in it my entire senior year, and throughout this year specifically, I meet with my mentor once a month, and he's been able to kind of help me navigate kind of the transition from college to looking to where I can get a job, networking opportunities, if I want to study or work abroad, how to go about that. I wasn't able to study abroad due to COVID, but because of that, a little silver lining is I'm in kind of the off-campus, the class that gets me the off-campus experience. And so within that class, you're kind of required to either do an internship or volunteer experience with some sort of organization in the Boulder, Denver area that has ties, international ties or an international connection. So that's been a really cool experience to kind of get involved with the community as well. I feel like not a lot of majors require you to kind of get an internship or kind of get out in the community and get out of the classroom. And that's definitely something that's been encouraged a lot. So I've been working with the Colorado Russian Center, and I've been able to learn a lot, work with some kids. That's been really cool. But yeah, so that's my experience right now, but I'm definitely willing to answer any questions. Yeah.
Great, thank you for that, Linnea. And I think Lily is she's connecting too. By the way, in the chat, Catherine has put in some good links for you to get more information about the program or about the college and the university itself too. Here is Lily, who's just finished a paper for me today that was due. And she is staggered in here now. Post spring break to talk to you. Lily is in my senior seminar.
Hi, is that a good transition for me to get Professor?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one. Go ahead and you can, as Linnea just did too, like your experience as international affairs major, what you've liked, what happened with study abroad. We know there's COVID too, but how you adapted to that and your general impressions.
Yeah, totally. Sweet. Well, hi, everybody. My name's Lily. I am in my 4th year at CU Boulder. Not going to graduate this spring, but hopefully I'm going to study abroad in the coming year, so that'll make up for it. Yeah, coming into college, I tend to be someone who has like a lot of different interests, and I struggle to pin one thing down that I really want to follow. I studied abroad in France during my junior year of high school. So I was like, international affairs, that seems like I'm international. But yeah, so I kind of jumped into that major. I was originally a double major with women and gender studies, but I came to find that I felt like that really wasn't where I wanted to go. So my sophomore year, I declared a double major in religious studies in conjunction with international affairs. And I also have finished a certificate in peace, conflict, and security studies. And I am a minor in Arabic, which is also my foreign language concentration for international affairs. I would say that for me, becoming a double major in religious studies helped me really kind of hone my interests because international affairs remains like a very broad field. And I was interested in kind of the relationship of religion and violence and how that kind of played out on an international scale. So that's been like really interesting for me. Also, I will say, as like a first year in the international affairs department, most of my classes were of 500 plus kids because you're just taking like those intro courses and things like that. And I was lucky enough to find, friends that I have studied with up until this point, but I really craved a smaller learning community, and religious studies was able to kind of provide that quicker than I was able to find with international affairs. Now that I'm a senior in international affairs, I am in smaller classes and have like found a group that I've kind of studied with in different classes multiple times, but because religious studies is such a small department, that like provided that sooner for me. Let's see. I am hoping to go to Cairo when I go abroad. I'm trying to figure out the logistics of all of that with my language as well. But I would say like I'm someone who I wanted to be involved on campus. Like I have had a lot of internships not all of them have been directly related to international affairs. I, for example, kind of had this stint a couple, or like I guess 2 years ago now, where I was obsessed with the idea of becoming a museum curator. And so I got all of these like different internships in museums, both locally and over Zoom, which I loved. I've since realized that I don't really know if I want to go to grad school for art history. So I'm kind of like pivoting. I think at this point, my interest is, or like my eyes are set on law school, which is exciting for me to actually have made a decision about something, but we'll see what happens there. I just feel like that kind of would meld like my interests the best as far as religious studies and international affairs and peace and conflict studies. I had an internship with the restorative justice program at CU through the peace and conflict studies program, which was incredible. And I highly recommend, if you are interested in kind of honing your like interest in international affairs a little bit more, looking into the peace, conflict, and security studies program here at CU. The professor who heads that program is incredible. And I've really enjoyed the classes that I've taken in that. Let's see what else. So, oh gosh, when I think about like my time at CU, I did the most random thing. I came into CU and I was like, I don't really like know anyone here. I'm just gonna try out for improv comedy. So I did that. I have never acted. I've never done improv. I went to the audition, like didn't know anyone. I got in. Oh wait, can everyone still hear me? Okay, my AirPods just died. And I got in and it ended up being like one of the most fun things I've ever done. I'm normally someone who's like, you know, how is this furthering my career goal? Or how is this, you know, helping me to reach like this larger thing? But improv was just one of those things that I did for fun, and it was random and it got me out of my comfort zone, and allowed me to like meet people that I wouldn't otherwise have met. So I would highly recommend like doing something so random, and seeing, you know, sometimes it's fruitful, sometimes it's not. I'm not in improv anymore, but it served its purpose for the time being. And yeah, the international affairs program, like when I was thinking about my presentation to you all, I was thinking about the things that I would recommend. And I would say, I think that one of the most important things is to find either a professor or a topic within international affairs that you really like, and kind of follow that through your time here. There are professors that I have taken several different classes with at CU, because even if I'm not wanting to pursue that in my thesis or in my master's, like specifically what they study, I know that I'm inspired by what they teach. I like their delivery, and I can create a connection with them that will serve me, like whether it's just having a community on campus with your professors, or, you know, in the long run of just having those relationships when you go to grad school and things like that. So yeah, I would say that's my main points. Any questions or any things that I missed?
Great. And both for Linnea and Lily, any questions anybody might have they're here? Thank you a lot for that. So you can see there's a variety of ways you can go to college, and what you're interested in, and what you start with might not be what you finish with. You know, that's the beauty of a comprehensive university. Are there any questions? Anybody in the chat? It's a quiet group out there.
And feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to ask your question.
Yeah. Not a question. Here's one from Emma.
Great.
Good.
So our first question, how would you connect political science and international affairs?
Well, I can start with that, and maybe we'll turn to Catherine on this as well. It is our closest, what we call cognate affiliated department. international affairs and political science. And in fact, at the lower division, you have to take 2 of the 5 courses that you are required to take are political science courses. We also usually have several of our majors who double major in political science too. So we're very closely affiliated in that sense. In terms of what we study or courses, it's just a natural for international topics to be taught in political science too. One thing, and it's a great question, and thanks for it, because one thing I think it's very, if it's not obvious now, it should be made obvious. You take your International Affairs 1000 course, it's an international affairs course, but then by and large, you branch out into other departments and you're taking their courses as an international affairs major. And we have lists of those too. And many of those are political science courses too. Catherine, do you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting overlap with the international affairs major. I think, as Professor Zeiler pointed out, there's a lot of opportunity for you to do a joint major in political science as an international affairs major or a joint minor. Some specific areas that you could cover in political science where there's overlap. Professor Zeiler mentioned those functional areas that students do at the upper division, which are themed areas in the study of international affairs. There is, we call it functional area 1, which is culture and development on global development, which is a political science course that you could take that would also fulfill international affairs requirement. By the same token, that functional area 3, which is the international security and foreign policy functional area, there's an American foreign policy class that you could take in the Department of Political Science, and it fulfills the requirements for the major too. So there are extremely interesting ways to connect the major and political science. Another aspect that you might want to think about is, for example, if you do the honors program in international affairs, is there a political science professor that you've connected with through any of your classes that you might want to ask to be on board as your advisor? Is there a particular topic that would connect to a political science class that you did? So I think it's a good connection and a good question.
I want to jump in with one more aspect about how you can connect them outside of the classroom. Is quite a few of our students will be in student organizations as political science students. So for example, even if you don't want to go into something that is, like politics or diplomacy or foreign relations, but, you need to gain some speaking public skills or work in teams, and you have the ability to join CU Model UN. There's going to also be quite a few students from other majors in that, and there are quite a few in the past, at least, from political science as well as international affairs. We've also had it where in previous years, when there's a student club, even like CU Political Science Club will about classes or talking about things, they will actually ask if we want to recruit, if they can recruit students. So we've had that in the past as well. And since the pandemic, I never know what's happening, but there's also that way to indirectly work together with, if you're wanting to make a connection with another major, but maybe you can't do their classes.
Yeah, and just to jump in really quick as well, a more general answer, or just something that popped in my head, is one reason I really like and enjoy international affairs as a major here is because it is so interdisciplinary, and it covers such a wide variety of topics, even in not only in political science classes, but in anthropology classes and education classes. I constantly am kind of finding themes and just topics that are related to international affairs that kind of relate to things I've learned in classes I've taken either for my international affairs major or for my education minor. So there's a lot of different overlap between a lot of different subjects, whether it's anthropology, political science, international affairs, sociology, psychology. There's just, just kind of experienced a lot of different overlap, which is really cool because it allows you in international affairs, it allows you to explore kind of a lot of different areas, which is cool. And yeah, I just say that.
Well said, Linnea. Thank you. And Jackie and Catherine, thank you too. Should also add that some of this is built in, as Linnea calls it, the overlap. We have faculty that are faculty professors in international affairs and in another department. So we have one that's in economics and international affairs, one in political science and international affairs, women and gender studies, geography, and in history. I happen actually, although I'm the director of the program, I'm actually a professor of history. And Catherine mentioned the American Foreign Policy course in political science. I teach a course very similar in U.S. diplomatic history. So there are a lot of connections, and all of us have a foot in another department or two. I think we have another question, right?
Yeah, great. Thank you all for your responses. Our next question, in the honors program, are there specific classes available to first and second year students, or does that wait until senior year?
That'll wait until your senior years. You will be invited. You have to qualify for the honors program with a grade point average, a certain grade point average, and then you'll be invited usually around February or March of your junior year. You could be abroad, but you'll get that letter or email. You don't have to have an advisor yet. You don't have, you want to start thinking about all of that and decide if you want to do honors. You will then, in the fall of your senior year, take what's called the honors seminar, which is nuts and bolts, teaches you from the very beginning how to get a topic if you don't have one, how to build a bibliography, what the methods are, the arguments, and gets you right to the edge with a prospectus of writing your thesis. So at the end of that course, you have a prospectus by December of knowing exactly what you want to do. You've also, of course, have an advisor by then, and you're working with an advisor already. And so now it's a great question to ask, Rose, because right now we are in the midst of honors frenzy. We're going to have this week and next week defenses of honors theses. They've kind of finished these honors theses, and now they have to defend them in a committee of 3. So I have 2 students who are doing that. I'm their primary advisor. There'll be the director of the honors program from international affairs and another faculty member outside of international affairs who will convene a roughly an hour-long defense of that honors thesis. So really everything starts happening at the spring semester of your junior year. There really isn't anything for first and second year students. There are residence programs, should you choose that coming in your first year for next year, that there is an honors residence program too, but that's different than Latin honors than doing a thesis.
Tom, can I just add something there? So that is how our program honors process works. And in addition to that, they're kind of 2 different things. What Professor Zeiler was describing was the honors process to do the international affairs honors program and graduate with Latin honors, say magna cum laude in international affairs. In addition, there's an honors program in the college. I'm giving a link in the chat here if anybody wants to have a look at it. And that gives you, kind of separate from that process described in international affairs, an opportunity to take honors classes across the college. For example, anthropology might offer a class in the honors program that's at the lower division level. And you don't have to do those classes through the honors program to do that other process in international affairs that begins in the spring of the junior year. But one of the nice things about investigating the honors program is it's one of those chances to find small school opportunities in the larger campus. Professor Zeiler also mentioned the residential academic program, or RAP classes, which are another example of that. The honors program allows you to take a smaller class than you might at lower divisions. So that's a nice kind of program to look into, which is a separate process. And again, not required if students are interested in doing our honors class and our thesis process, but really beneficial as well.
I do also want to add, thank you, Catherine, for that clarification. For the Arts and Sciences Honors Program, so for that larger program, incoming first year students will be invited. And if you were invited, you would have been notified with your admissions decision. If you weren't invited, don't worry, you can still join the honors program during your second year. As long as you maintain a 3.3 CU Boulder GPA, you'll then be honors eligible and have access to those honors classes. So just like Catherine mentioned, they're not necessarily classes that you have to take within international affairs. If you wanted to take honors, an honors class in English, or an honors class in economics, or an honors class in art history, then you have that option. So know that you're not just limited to classes specifically in your major, and most students will take about one honors class each semester. Again, we're really just trying to make sure that you get connected to honor specific professors, that honors community, but also to the rest of campus, feel connected to your other professors outside of the honors program. All right, and I did receive a private question. What is CU DC, and is it only for international affairs students?
No, it's not. I can turn to Catherine for that too. Catherine, you have the affiliation with that.
Yeah, the CU DC program is a really interesting one to investigate. It used to be housed within the College of Arts and Sciences, and what it was intended to do was almost give a satellite campus experience at CU Boulder physically in DC that allowed students to be able to take courses in DC from professors there, to kind of live together in this, it's not quite a residence, it's kind of an apartment complex, and also at the same time to be able to do an internship experience in DC. So the idea is that you were taking a CU Boulder semester and you were earning CU Boulder credit, and it was all happening in DC. That program has been transitioning from the College of Arts and Sciences to the Education Abroad office, and it's kind of still in the process of transitioning. Thanks, Eileen, for adding that link in the chat to the program. But it is still available to students. No, you do not have to be an international affairs major to do the CU DC program. I think it's a great program for anyone who's interested, and even if you come to CU and you're not sure if you want to be an international affairs major, it's I think a really good program for students to look into, because it gives you that perspective on life in DC. There's a specific course you do that's kind of professional life in DC. You get to have a practical internship experience, and you get to do coursework there. So definitely something to listen to look into. Certainly, it's a great fit if you are an international affairs major, because it has that kind of policy making angle. And of course, there are a lot of international and global issues that are being discussed and worked on in DC, but it really is a program for everyone.
Thanks, Catherine. Another question I received, it's for Lily and Linnea. What has been your favorite international affairs class so far?
Lily, do you have one right off the bat? That's a hard question. Here.
Well, I feel like this kind of goes back to that point where, like, I was thinking about it. I think I've only taken 3 like international affairs specific classes in my time here, and one of them is the like capstone seminar that I'm in right now, and the other 2 are my 2 intro classes. Obviously I love my international affairs seminar right now. Professor Zeiler is great. I think though one of my favorite classes has been the American Foreign Policy class that Dr. David Burst teaches or taught a couple years ago. Probably one of the most engaging and exciting and yeah, just well-versed professors I've ever had. And he's one of the professors I've taken multiple times just because I loved it so much.
Yeah, I also had Dr. Burst for the Global Issues and International Affairs class, the one that you would take your first semester as an international affairs student. And honestly, those really stuck out to me still, just because they laid down, it was with an amazing professor, but also just because they laid down such an interesting foundation of kind of a general survey of a bunch of different topics that you can kind of go more into depth as you go into your second, third, and fourth year here. Something else that stuck out to me is global development. That's a political science class, but I took it for one of my functional areas. And then another one I'm in this semester is democracy in the United States and the European Union. And that's a really interesting one as well, because I'm Europe and Eurasia, that's my concentration. And so as I've kind of gotten to my third and fourth year, you start to kind of get more specialized and choose classes based on kind of that concentration and just things that you're more interested in and kind of want to specialize in. And so it's been really cool getting to take kind of those more specific classes focused on kind of comparing, or I really enjoy learning kind of the comparison of the politics within Europe versus kind of structures in politics in the United States. So that's been really interesting. But yeah, there's a million different classes and that you can take. That's kind of why I like international affairs so much, but those are definitely some of my favorites.
Great, thank you, Lily and Linnea. I don't see any more questions in the chat, so I'll just go ahead and ask Lily and Linnea to give a piece of advice to these incoming first-year students.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Okay. I would say, I mean, kind of similar to Lily, I remember how kind of stressful at times or kind of overwhelming picking a major can be. And I feel like for me, I picked international affairs because I believed it could kind of combine a bunch of different interests and kind of it aligned with a lot of different larger themes I was really interested in. And it allowed me to study a language, and studying abroad was a priority of mine. So kind of it allowed me those kind of different opportunities. So I would say, but also it's 100%, there's so many different ways you can go within, and it's also not the worst thing at all to change a major, add a minor, change a minor, whatever. So I feel like a piece of advice would be just don't think about it too much. Don't beat yourself up if you don't know exactly what you want to study, and basically just try to think about what interests you the most, what gets you excited, what you think, I don't know, what you're just excited about, if any of this kind of interested you, if an honors thesis interests you, or if studying abroad interests you, learning a foreign language, whatever, kind of just run with that and follow your interests. And there's so much you can do. And so, yeah, trust your gut and it all works out, I guess. But yeah, Lily, you go.
Okay. I would say the way that I've gone into my college experience here at CU, and to be fully transparent, I did not want to go to this school. And here I am almost 5 years later. It has been super challenging, but I also think that because of the challenges I've faced, I've pushed a lot harder to make it worth it. You are here for 4 to 5 years, potentially. I'm not sure where you guys are at in the process, but milk it. like go like get as much as you can out of it. There are so many resources on this campus, and like this is probably an exaggeration, but I would say 80% of the students here don't take advantage of those resources. There are professors who care, there are clubs that are interesting, like CU being like one of the biggest research institutions in the country. Like there are so many things at your fingertips, and it might take a little bit of extra effort to search those things out, but they are available to you. And I'm like, if I have the opportunity to go to college, I might as well get as much as I can out of it. And that's really how I've gone into it. Sometimes to my detriment, definitely prioritize mental health, but it is like, there's really so much here. So get curious, like change. I'm the poster child for not making a decision, and here I am, like not graduating in 4 years. But if you like take classes that don't even pertain to your major, maybe like just be interested, be curious, and see what it has to offer. And yeah, good luck, everybody.
Great. Thank you so much for that advice. So with that, I'll go ahead and just drop the links that Catherine originally posted on there. If you do have any international affairs specific questions, feel free to reach out to that international affairs email. If you have any questions regarding just the admissions process, honors, basically anything, any question you have, feel free to reach us at thecollege@colorado.edu. We're more than happy to follow up with any additional information or connect you with the right people. But Tom or Catherine, if you have anything else to add before we close.
Let me just add, and Catherine has something for sure sound off too. Don't be shy. I know this is a big step. We all know it's a big step that you're taking. It can be a bit intimidating. You've met these wonderful students, and we've wonderful people who work for this program. All you do is take a deep breath and send us an email if you have a question. There is no dumb question. Believe me, if you're asking it, hundreds of others behind you are asking to. Don't leave yourself in the dark. Anything, we're happy to answer anything or any issues you might have. You might think, yeah, as Lily said, you're in a class of 500 students, but you'd be surprised how many students I know in a big class, and that goes for you too. So reach out. Again, it takes just a little bit of nerve, but don't leave yourself in the dark. If you have anything, this is too important of a decision for you to make to kind of be wondering, oh, do I want to do this major or that major? We're here to help. I'm here personally. If it sounds like another major is better, I'll be happy to introduce you to people in another major or help you along your way. So really, we really mean that. We're not just saying that. And an email is an easy way to do that. And we can Zoom with you or wherever else you want to communicate.
Yeah, I would just add that I think the advice that Linnea and Lily gave, that's very, very wise advice, and they put it very, very well. And I would say, be curious. Don't feel like you have to come in the door knowing everything that you want to do, because in a lot of ways, the point of your education, of a liberal arts education, is to let it unfold and let your questions blossom, and to really be able to follow your curiosity and see what kinds of classes speak to you, what kinds of professors you connect with, and to really make the effort to take advantage of all the opportunities that you'll have, whether that's visiting your professors during office hours, which I can't even stress how important that is, that a lot of learning takes place during office hours. So that's a really good thing to do, even if it's a little bit intimidating when you first start at CU. Trust me, the professors, they really want to talk to you and they enjoy that exchange. So that's important. Seeking out student organization opportunities, looking at things like the honors program and the CU DC program. And even if you're not sure you're going to study abroad for a couple of years, go talk to a study abroad advisor and just start asking what kinds of programs are out there. And I took this one class and they talked about global health, and in a couple of years, is there a global health kind of program that I could do abroad somewhere, and I want to read more about that, and those kinds of things. Like I said, let your curiosity blossom. I'd say that the last thing I would say is that to really reinforce with what Professor Zeiler said is that everybody here who's involved with the program, we care about the program so much, and we care about our students so much, and we really are true believers in what we're doing with the program and within education and international affairs. So really talk to us. And I would invite, if Jackie Rogers and Eileen Brown, if they want to chime in with anything, they are valuable members of our staff, and they have a lot of expertise about what's going on campus, having to do with student organizations, with events that are going on. They're great resources. So either when you're thinking about coming here or thinking about your major, or when you're on campus, don't hesitate to reach out to them. And Jackie and Eileen, do you have anything to add that you'd like to chime in with?
I think Eileen had to step away, but I would just say utilize, like Lily and Linnea said, utilize the resources available for you. And if you're not sure, ask us, ask your advisor. If you don't want to ask your advisor, or maybe you ask them too much and you're not sure what to do, or whatever the case may be, ask us. We love giving you information that is tailored for you. So if you express that you're looking for a student club that meets off campus because you just need to get off campus once in a while, and you want it to be in certain interests, or you're like, I feel overwhelmed, or this is a skill set I need to build up on, or how do I talk to this professor? I don't like this class. You can come to us if you have already tried your advisor, or you just want to come to us directly. We get those questions often, and we get students that come into our office, and those are some of my favorite moments working as a staff member, and Eileen as well, is being able to connect with students one-on-one and helping them find what is going to meet their needs, whether that's in the International Affairs program or whether that's beyond it, whether that's at CU, or if we have to look into other options or maybe certain areas of campus. But we are here to help students maximize what educational opportunities are available for them, and what really is customized and works for them. So just reach out to us, and if you have any questions from after this session or anytime, please just email us, visit our website, any of those things.
Great. Thank you all so much. So that concludes our International Affairs event. Again, feel free to reach out to that International Affairs email with any specific questions, or at thecollege@colorado.edu. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Good luck, everybody.